Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about something that is probably not the most exciting thing ever, but something that I think is kind of interesting and unique to Nintendo, and that is their game card cases. So here I've got a couple game card cases that Nintendo's released over the years. And let's start with a 3DS one here really quick. So back in I think this was like 2013 or 2012, somewhere around there, Nintendo released this Nintendo 3DS card case 18 as a Club Nintendo reward. And Club Nintendo, for those of you who don't know, is the reward program that predates My Nintendo. So back at that time, they released this as some kind of purchasable thing, and with it, you could hold up to 18 of your DS or 3DS games. So here you can see I've got a couple games in here, like Scribblenauts, which I found for like $1 at a Goodwill. Ace Attorney, not Phoenix, right? Apollo Justice, that's his name, which I bought several years after it came out. And then two of my not for resale 3DS cartridges, which we'll talk about those some other day. And then here I just got a couple games that I sometimes throw into the 3DS whenever the itch occurs, or sometimes in the case of like Hey Pikmin and Codename Steam, these are games that I want to complete at some point. But you can see that that all these different slots are numbered. And then when you want to take your game out, you can just press in on it and get your game. And it works, just like it does with the retail packaging. What was cool about this, though, is that the artwork, it comes with a lot of different artwork. So I think this one has 4. Yeah. So you could have just this one in, and then the inside would be, like all this 3DS button iconography, like the R button, the start button, Y, L, A, X, home. Kind of interesting, they have 2 different home buttons there in different colors, like a home bar and then like a home button. That's kind of interesting. And then the spine would still read Nintendo 3DS card case 18. So, and it has the Club Nintendo icon up there. So this was an option. You could just put, this into your card case and you'd know that it's a 3DS card case just like that. But there were some cool ones too, like this one. Let me just grab these one at a time, which is very just Mario themed. So it says Club Nintendo up in the corner. The side, it just says 3DS card case 18 in red and green lettering, because Mario's on the front, Luigi's on the back. And then on the inside is Yoshi and Peach. And with these being reversible, you could just as easily make it so like maybe you're more of a Peach person. You could flip this around and make it so Peach is on the front and Yoshi's on the back, and Mario and Luigi would be on the inside. You just as easily could do that. For that matter, you could do that with this one too, but I think having just a 3DS and the 3DS logo on the inside would kind of look strange, but you do you. This one's kind of interesting. It's very 8-bit original Legend of Zelda themed on the outside. It's just 8-bit lettering that says Nintendo 3DS card case 18. There's the sprite of Link, and that lettering carries over to the side. This almost reminds me of like Mario Maker for 3DS. And then on the back, it's like the status bar from Legend of Zelda, so you can see this is like level 1, the eagle, even though it doesn't say level 1, it just says level dash whatever. 255 rupees. I don't know if that's a specific reference or something. Seemingly no bombs or keys, which there wouldn't be at this point. But a sword, a magic potion, and somehow 20 hearts, and we're tackling the eagle. Fascinating. So this one's kind of cool in that the outside is very 8-bit themed, but the inside is not. The inside is kind of just a kind of a hodgepodge of different Zelda items from different points in the series. Like you have the bomb and the white sword, you know, here and on the left. Those are like 8-bit sprites, but then you have like a heart piece from Wind Waker, the goddess sword or the goddess shield, and goddess harp from Skyward Sword. There's the ocarina from Ocarina of Time, which that one makes sense because like Ocarina of Time was on the 3DS. But like this fairy is definitely from Wind Waker, and Wind Waker was never playable on 3DS. So I don't really know how they came up with the interior design for this, but somehow they did. Similarly, I don't know why you would have this on the outside, because it would be kind of, it just looks like the inside because the way this grid is laid out, you know, like otherwise you just be staring at like the Triforce on the front and 3DS on the back, which that kind of makes sense, but I don't know. And then we have the last one, which is kind of 8-bit Mario themed. So there's these different fire flowers along the front, some cursive writing for Nintendo 3DS, 8-bit Mario sprite. I don't know why some of these are colored in just like green and red, and some are like their actual sprite appearance from the game. Not sure. The side does not have 8-bit lettering though. And the back continues to use the same flower motif from the front. So in a lot of ways, this is the most design consistent insert for your card case because the design matches front and back. And then on the inside, you know, it just has 8-bit sprites of Mario, Lakitu, Toad, who is yes flipping us off, Goomba, and Peach, and then they're labeled 1 through 18 for each of your game cards. Again, nothing would prevent you from having this be like on the outside and this being the inside, but here more than ever, I think it would just look really weird. And if you do choose to use like just one of these, you know, like maybe I just want to use this as my insert, you then have to figure out what to do with these other 3. So it makes more sense for you to just kind of mix and match these in some sort of way that makes sense to how you want to store or carry with your 3DS games, and just stack them, you know, in that order. And then you can pretty easily, you know, store them all inside or in the case itself. Just like so. The nice thing about the 3DS game card case, or about the carrying case, whatever we're gonna call this, is that it's about the same size as like a normal 3DS game. So like if I hold these, you know, front and back, you know, they are the same size, just facing front on. But it is a little bit thicker to accommodate both sides, being able to have those clips and doing that. So you can see it's just a little bit thicker. But otherwise, you know, the card case is almost indistinguishable from a regular game, which is awesome. Makes it easy to just, you know, slot this onto your shelf alongside the other 3DS games that you might have in your library. So this first card case was, I mean, it was only offered through Club Nintendo, so I don't know how successful it was, but for some reason, they decided to do it again with Nintendo Switch. Similarly, this was also offered through My Nintendo, I believe. And this came out, I don't remember when this came out. I'd have to look it up. But this came out well before Nintendo Switch 2 was even a thought. When you open it up, this one's a little bit of a downgrade in that it only offers 8 instead of 16, so you can only store games on the one side instead of both, which kind of sucks. But because of that, it is the exact same size as a normal Switch cartridge case. Same thickness in this regard. So the 3DS one's a little bit better in that regard. This one's kind of neat. It has, carrying on the tradition, some different artwork that you can use. Only 2 to choose from this time though, and this paper is of a lesser quality. So this is the one that I have currently, and it's kind of just these line art of like the Switch with the in handheld mode with the Joy-Con connected on the left, the Joy-Con slotted into the grip on the bottom, and the Pro Controller on the left. So I kind of like line art, so this looks pretty nice to me. But on the flip side, and this is much easier to see, you know, like maybe you want to have your card reversed like this. And actually, I think this is the default art that it shipped in. But on the inside, it's much more colorful. It just has the, you know, Nintendo Switch logo, card case 8. And then similarly, it has the Switch in handheld mode, the Joy-Cons in the grip, the Pro Controller. And then on the left, which would be the back, it has the My Nintendo logo, and then the Joy-Cons just, you know, I guess being held. The Switch Lite, so the Switch Lite had come out by this point, and the Joy-Con just on their side. So the front artwork is pretty nice. I think I just prefer the line art on the back, which is how I use mine. But your other option's actually pretty good, in my opinion. So this has much more color, and it's red and gray Joy-Con. So this would be like, I don't know, probably the Joy-Con that comes in like the Mario bundle, mixed with like the default gray. You have a turquoise blue, which I don't think a turquoise blue Joy-Con ever got released. The turquoise blue Nintendo Switch Lite was a thing, which they show below, but I don't think that color was ever used in a Joy-Con. The arms yellow, black Pro Controller, the purple and orange Joy-Con that released, I think around the time of Luigi's Mansion, if I recall correctly. The pink and green, excuse me, Joy-Con that released alongside Splatoon 2. Always wanted to get these and never did. Maybe someday just to have. And then the Nintendo Switch with the other turquoise or blue Joy-Con. Maybe this is like the neon blue instead of turquoise. And then the default gray, and then a purple and red. So they have two left purples. This is interesting. But the front does look nice, even though I have questions about it. And the back basically does the same motif from the front, just with different products. So it's the yellow Switch Lite, a purple and pink Joy-Con or Switch in handheld mode. I think that's blue and orange, green and yellow, purple and red, the gray Nintendo Switch Pro Controller, and the blue and gray Joy-Con. And then the inside just has the Switch button iconography, kind of similar to the 3DS one, honestly, on the left. So A, home, L, right, minus, plus, B, and ZR. I don't know how they chose to come up with these. And then it just has the number, also kind of like the 3DS one, for your game cards on the inside. So this one definitely feels more like the inside, you know? And then I just prefer the line art, so that's why I have mine in this way. But I do think it'd be cool if they brought this back for Nintendo Switch 2 and did new art, new designs for the inside. That'd be pretty cool. But the nice thing about, and kind of like the 3DS game card, how this works with DS and 3DS games, but it was kind of made for 3DS. This one would work with both Switch and Switch 2 games. So if I take out my copy of Donkey Kong Bonanza and I want to stick it in here, the only difference between Switch cards and Switch 2 cards is that they're red and the capacities are different. The capacity doesn't matter. to most people. So Bonanza, a Switch 2 game, fits in this case perfectly. And if I were to start playing Fire Emblem Engage, just pop that in here as well. So that's the nice thing about the game card. The Nintendo Switch Game Card 8 is that it works with both Switch and Switch 2, like most Switch-related things. It's really kind of a family of systems, which is not unlike the DS and how the DS worked. So that's all good. Anyway, that was all I had to show and kind of talk about today, which was just kind of how it's interesting Nintendo made these game card cases, which are pretty nice, in all honesty. I mean, I like having these available to put like frequently played games in, so I don't have to go and grab each individual game off the shelf. I can just grab the game card case and I know that it's going to be in there. But I think it's also kind of interesting the similarities between the two, despite the number of years that passed between each one's release. You know, they both work with a preceding console, the DS and the Nintendo Switch. And they both have inserts. They were both exclusive to the Nintendo Reward Program of the time, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why Nintendo doesn't just make this a purchasable product, you know, like at any time. I don't know why. That'd be kind of nice as well. But then the main difference is that this one holds 18 games because it stores on both sides, whereas this one does only 8 because it stores on only one side. So that sucks a little bit, but what you gonna do? So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.